Hello, everybody. It's Mirialda here once again, and welcome back to the first part of our ant haul. Yes, A is for Ayanami. Yes, I've thought about this figure for quite a while, and ultimately the side-boob compelled me, and I decided to pick her up. So this figure is by Pulchra, and if you've watched me for a while, you know that I have not had the very best opinion of Pulchra. A lot of their figures have been very, well, let's just say bad. But I have been keeping my eyes on them because they do put out some figures of characters I am interested in. And it does seem that recently they have been improving. So I'm hopeful for Ayanami, but I'm also not expecting perfection. So, yeah. This is Ayanami Kai, the Retrofit version of her. So she is from Azur Lane. She is a 1/7 scale figure manufactured by Pulchra. She was released on January 30th of 2019. I ordered her the day after Christmas, December 26th of 2018. And I paid for her on January 30th of 2019. Watched the haul video for the horrible shipping story. She just got here on February 12th, and it was EMS. Ayanami is not cheap. Another reason I had to debate on her for a while. She was 14,160 yen, or $133.84. So yeah, there is the front of her box. There is the side of her box. There is the back of her box, and the other side. There is the top of the box, and there is the plain boring bottom of the box. So this is actually a reasonably sized box. So good on Pulchra for that. Let's get it open and see how she turned out. So yeah. There are what appears to be typical 3 seals. So we'll get this open. Maybe. We'll slide her out. The inside of the box is basically just a dark blue. There are a couple light blue patterns, the Azur Lane anchor logo. Don't know if you can really see it in there, but that's about it. Nothing real special about the insides of boxes. I see no instructions. Let me check the box real quick again. Yes, no instructions. So there is the front of her in the blister packaging. There is the side and the back. There's a couple blisters in here. And the other side. And then back to the front. So far, just looking at her, in the box, she looks decent. But what does she look like out of the box? That is the questions, my friends. I have seen some people over on 2chan posted some pictures of her basically force cast off with sculpted nipples and breasts and painted and everything. I do believe that is not like how the figure comes. I think they modified it. I mean, beyond the force cast off, I think they added some more details afterwards. So I'm not expecting her to be, fully sculpted under her shirt. I'm probably not even going to try to peel it back any. I may, but we'll see. Come on. Okay, so we shall start with her accessory blister. Side, and inside of bubble wrap we have her ship parts. Now I have read that these are very fragile, so I'm going to be quite careful with them. They're also in a blister package or plastic bag. So you've got the part that stabs into her back. Nice peg. It does feel pretty matte to the touch. She's got her torpedo tubes and launchers. They are fully loaded with white torpedoes. I have also read that these are articulated, but this is one of the points of failure, so I am not going to be moving the torpedo launchers around. She does have some guns on the side of the ship part. It's got a nice little spotlight and a pretty fragile looking anchor. Or not anchor, but antenna. So all in all, I'm satisfied with these ship parts. There's a very, very faint shading on a couple areas, so it is decent. I'm looking at the paint. Everything seems to be in the lines. Right there, the little part that sticks out might have a little bit of misalignment of the paint, but overall, happy with the ship parts. Put this off to the side. And then inside of another blister area is her base. So we'll take that out, put that back in, push this off to the side. So her base is pretty boring. It's basically a square with rounded corners and a white square with rounded corners. She does have 3 metal pegs. So, I mean, it's a base. I have read that some people, it wasn't like flat. So like if you did this, it would shake. Mine seems to be decent. So now we have the main blister. So let's get that open. Tape on basically the corners. And be careful here. It does look like the very tip of one of the ribbons on the sleeves is sticking out a little bit, so be careful not to cut it if you're haphazard with a knife. So there's that. Spin around to the side so we can pull out her accessory first, which is her big giant ship part, the hull of her ship, which is a sword. It's a little pointy. Could injure yourself, but it's not very sharp or anything. Looks to be pretty nicely detailed. Paint seems to be pretty good. There's the handle. You got some smokestacks of the ship. So overall, so far, I am pleased. Pulchra is attempting to redeem themselves in my eyes. So now we've got Ayanami herself. So there's quite a bit of plastic protecting her. Pull off the piece on her ponytail. Some bubble wrap fell off of her chest. Piece on her one sleeve. And piece on her other sleeve. So set her down. Put that back in the box. So here is Ayanami. She is fairly light, but she does have a decent weight to her. So there is her face. She is one that you would want to display probably high because she is looking down. She has a little tiny O mouth. If we can focus on it. Eyes look to be pretty good. Belly looks nice and sculpted. You got the hip lines and the belly line and everything. And you got the little ship parts hanging onto her hips. A feature I do like, I'm not sure if it'll show up on camera, but her stockings are thin, so you can actually see some of her flesh tones peeking out through it, so that's a nice little touch. She's got some rudders on her feet, I guess those are. Pretty good details. There does appear to be a little spot of crud on her one sleeve. I do like the design on it. Looks to have some speckles in the paint too. So not perfect, like I was saying. I wasn't expecting perfection. From the back, you can see the peg hole for her ship parts. Back is pretty boring, not very interesting, but it's got a nice ponytail, best hairstyle ever. She does have ship parts sticking out of her head. One thing I did notice in the pictures is I like how her necklace, her choker, has a Roman numeral 2 on it for Kai. Remodel, retrofit, Ayanami Kai. So, fingers, nicely painted. There's fingernail polish on them. Middle ring fingers are stuck together, but otherwise nicely sculpted. And you can see the knuckles in like the index finger. Tilting her down, we do see she has some black ones on, and they don't cover a whole lot. But yeah, she's got a nice booty on her. And then she does have a nice little band-aid on her arm. Some people have described it as possibly looking like cancerous because it does stick out from her flesh a little bit. So there is that. From normal distance, it's not really all that noticeable. And then the reasons to buy it. The side boob, it compels you. And not just the side boob, the under boob. So she has what I would consider normal human-sized breasts. So nice size. They do feel possibly a little small, but hey, it's Ayanami. She is not a big-chested girl. But yeah, like the tips of her hair has a slight reddish tinge to it, so a little bit of shading was done. Overall, paint seems pretty good. Sculpt seems pretty good. Not perfect, but not horrible either. Definitely not as bad as I have been expecting from Pulchra. So let's go ahead and get her on the base. Being as there's no instructions, you're guessing which pegs go where. Let me possibly do this off to the side so I can see what I'm doing. Oh, that's a bit of a pain, so they don't quite line up correctly. So like you have to get her right foot on first and then kind of twist a little bit to get the left foot on. Okay. Now set her down and push down, being careful not to break her the little fin pieces are fairly fragile and flexible, so be careful not to break those. But once you twist her around just right, you get her to be properly attached to the base. So now I'll spin her around and stab the ship parts into her back. Again, be very careful because they are very fragile, and several people have said they have broken them. So it's fairly tight fit. I'm not going to shove it with all of my might into there. And then the sword, there's no pictures on the box, so can't really look at that for guidance. I have read if you put the hull up and set it into her hand and then spin it around. There we go. So there is Ayanami assembled. Like I said, not 100% perfect, but much better than I was expecting. She has cute little ears. The paint seems pretty good. Sculpt seems good. Again, you're going to possibly want to display her up a little bit because, as I said, she is looking down. So, yeah. Now, as a comparison, I do have two other Azur Lane figures so far. Both of them are also 1/7. So Ayanami does seem a little bit short compared to these two, but we have Hamaman from Plum, and we have Akagi by Kotobukiya. And Akagi is just massive, so yeah. But compared to Hamaman, Hamaman is a bit taller. But overall, yeah, I could see these two, all three being the same scale. Just adult and younger, older-ish, who knows. But yes. So Azur Lane, I am addicted to the game. It is fun. So let's go a little bit closer. Just see some details. I'll pick the phone up. Yeah. I love her little belly. It's cute. And the little hip bones are definitely poking out. And I love her legs too. And as I said, got the under boobs and you got the side boob. And the side boob compels you to buy her. At least it compelled me. So yeah, overall I am quite pleased. She was expensive, like I said, but not too horrible, especially considering what figure prices are these days. So, as I said, this is Ayanami Kai, the retrofitted version of Ayanami. She is the Torpedo Demon, in case you didn't know. She is a 1/7 scale figure from Azur Lane. She is manufactured by Pulchra, who I have given shit before, but I am pleased with this one. She released on January 30th of 2019, and I bought a brand new at Ayanami for 14,160 yen. It was kind of a struggle because I debated for so long, and then she went out of stock and back in. Then she was back in stock, and then she went out of stock again. And then I refreshed one morning, saw her in stock, and I said, screw it, I'm getting her. So yes, Ayanami from Azur Lane. I hope you enjoyed. I'm out. Bye-bye.